The first time my mom told me I wasn't welcome at the family cottage, I was 16, standing barefoot in the kitchen with sand still clinging to my legs. She didn't even look at me when she said it. Just poured herself another glass of Chardonnay and muttered, "This isn't your place anymore, Emma. Don't make a scene." That was the beginning of 8 years of silence. 8 years of being erased. The cottage had always been my favorite place on earth. A small grey and white beach house perched on the coast of North Carolina, with weathered wooden steps leading straight into the sand. Summers there were everything to me: bonfires with cousins, salty air tangled in my hair, late-night swims where the stars felt close enough to touch. Those memories were my anchor. I thought they were safe, untouchable. But my mom knew exactly how to weaponize them. At first, she said it was my attitude. Later, it was because I was too dramatic, too difficult, too much. Eventually, she stopped bothering with excuses altogether. She just stopped inviting me. Meanwhile, my brothers still went every summer. They sent me photos of clambakes on the deck, fireworks on the 4th of July reflected in the ocean. I wasn't in a single one. I told myself it didn't matter. I had college. Then work. Then my own life. But every June, like clockwork, the same dull ache bloomed in my chest. I'd scroll through their posts, see the cottage lights glowing against the night sky, and feel like I was standing outside in the cold, face pressed to the glass. Once, my younger brother Tyler called me from the porch. I could hear the gulls, the waves, the laughter in the background. "Wish you were here," he said casually, like I'd just chosen not to come. As if it hadn't been made crystal clear that I wasn't wanted. My throat burned, but all I managed was a tight, "Yeah. Me too." It wasn't just exclusion. It was humiliation. Holidays passed with clipped, obligatory texts. Birthdays with nothing more than a card signed in someone else's handwriting. Mom would occasionally send me formal, icy emails, like I was a distant cousin, not her daughter. Still, some part of me kept waiting for the moment she'd soften. For the apology. For her to say the ban had been a mistake. That moment never came. 2 summers ago, I drove to the coast on impulse. I told myself I just wanted to see the ocean, not the cottage. But I parked right outside, heart pounding, hands gripping the steering wheel. I thought maybe, if I just walked up those weathered steps, it would all click back into place. Mom would see me and say, "Emma, thank God you're here." But when the door opened, it wasn't Mom. It was her best friend, tipsy and smirking. She looked me up and down like I was a stranger. "Oh," she said. "Didn't your mom tell you? This is family only." And then she shut the door in my face. I sat in my car for 2 hours, staring at that door, the sound of the ocean taunting me just out of reach. That was the moment I stopped waiting for an invitation. Being cut out like that? It hardened me. I poured everything into my career, into building something that belonged only to me. And the more they ignored me, the more determined I became to prove I didn't need them. But deep down, I still wanted one thing. Not reconciliation. Not forgiveness. No, I wanted power. And fate handed me the perfect opportunity. Last winter, I got a call from a real estate agent about a new listing, a private luxury resort, less than half a mile from the cottage. Oceanfront views. A pristine stretch of sand. Enough space to host dozens of guests. The asking price made my stomach drop, but for the first time in my life, I had the means to even consider it. I didn't hesitate. I signed the paperwork, wired the money, and walked away owning something bigger, better, and far more glamorous than the cottage I'd been banned from. The first night I stayed there, I stood on the balcony with a glass of champagne in my hand, staring down the beach toward that grey and white house. For the first time in years, the ache in my chest was gone. Replaced by something sharper. Colder. I thought just owning the resort was enough. That I'd already won. But I had no idea how far I was about to take it. Because that summer, my mom planned a massive family reunion at the cottage. And without realizing it, she handed me the perfect stage. But that wasn't the worst of it, not even close. The invitation came in April. A glossy, floral card tucked into my mailbox like nothing had happened. Family reunion, July 4th weekend, at the cottage. Signed in Mom's sharp handwriting, with no note, no apology, no explanation. Just the assumption that I wouldn't come. For 2 weeks, I stared at that card pinned to my fridge. Part of me wanted to rip it up and toss it in the trash. Another part wanted to frame it as proof of how disposable I'd been to her. But late one night, as I walked through my resort, checking the polished wood floors and the gleaming windows, I realized I wasn't disposable anymore. They wanted a reunion? Fine. But I'd be the one hosting it. I hired a team to plan the event, not at their cottage, but at my resort, right down the beach. Same date. Same time. Same theme. Except mine had professional catering, live music, and fireworks that would make theirs look like sparklers. The plan wasn't just to outshine them. It was to draw people away. Family members who had watched silently for years while I was erased. Cousins who posted pictures of beach bonfires without noticing who wasn't invited. Aunts who smiled tight smiles when I asked why I was never welcome. If they wanted to keep pretending, they'd have to do it from an empty cottage. When the day came, I made sure everything sparkled. White tents set up on the sand. Tables draped in navy and gold, seashells glittering in glass bowls. A bar stocked with champagne and signature cocktails. Guests arriving in sundresses and linen shirts, jaws dropping as they stepped through the resort gates. Emma? This is incredible. My cousin Hannah hugged me, eyes wide as she took in the view. I didn't even know you owned this place. I smiled, sipping my drink. Yeah, I don't really advertise it. It wasn't long before the whispers started. Family members texting each other under the table, sneaking glances down the beach where the cottage sat dim and quiet. A few tried to make excuses, oh, I'll stop by Mom's later, or we'll just split time between both parties, but as the night went on, it became obvious. The cottage reunion was a ghost town. Everyone was here. With me. And that's when I saw her. My mom stood at the edge of the resort grounds, hands on her hips, her white sundress whipping in the wind. She looked smaller than I remembered, but her eyes were sharp, furious, scanning the crowd of her own family laughing under my roof. For a split second, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. But then I remembered every birthday spent alone. Every Christmas card without my name. The door slammed in my face while the sound of the ocean mocked me. She marched across the sand like a general storming enemy territory. People noticed. Conversations faltered. Laughter died. By the time she reached me, the entire party had gone silent. "What do you think you're doing?" she hissed, low enough that only I could hear. I tilted my head, smiling sweetly. "Hosting a family reunion. Didn't you get the invite?" Her lips pressed into a thin line. "This is petty. Childish. You've embarrassed me." "No," I said, my voice steady. "You embarrassed yourself when you shut me out for 8 years. I'm just reminding everyone that I still exist." For a moment, she didn't speak. Her face went pale, and I realized she wasn't used to me talking back. She'd expected tears. Maybe even begging. Not calm, sharp defiance. "You'll regret this," she said finally, before turning on her heel and disappearing into the night. The party resumed, louder than before, but my mind spun. I thought I'd won, that this was the end, the moment I finally evened the score. But later that night, as I stood on the balcony watching fireworks explode over the water, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "You don't know the whole story." My chest tightened. The number wasn't saved in my phone, but I recognized it immediately. My brother Tyler. The one who used to call me from the cottage porch, the one who always sounded guilty when he said "wish you were here." And with that one message, everything I thought I knew about why I'd been cut off started to unravel. But that wasn't the worst of it, not even close. I didn't sleep that night. Tyler's message kept flashing in my mind, "You don't know the whole story." By sunrise, I was pacing the balcony of my resort, clutching my phone like it might burn through my hand. I typed a dozen replies and deleted them all. Finally, I just wrote, "Then tell me." He responded within minutes, "Meet me at the pier." Noon. The pier was one of our old spots. When we were kids, we used to sneak down there with popsicles from the gas station, dangling our legs over the edge while we made up stories about running away to sea. I hadn't been back since before Mom cut me out. My stomach twisted just walking toward it. Tyler was already there, leaning against the railing, looking older than I remembered. Tired. He didn't smile when he saw me. "You blew everything up last night," he said flatly. "Good," I shot back. "Now maybe she knows how it feels." He shook his head. "You think she hated you because of some teenage attitude? Or because she just decided to?" "Emma, it wasn't that simple." Anger surged through me. "She told me I was too much. Too dramatic. And you all went along with it. What part of that is complicated?" He looked at me for a long moment, then sighed. "Mom was covering for Dad." My breath caught. "What are you talking about?" "Dad left when I was 14. He didn't just leave," Tyler said, his voice low. "Mom sent him away because of you." The words sliced through me like ice. For a second, I couldn't breathe. "Because of me?" Tyler's jaw clenched. "You remember that summer, your 16th birthday? When Mom started acting weird around you?" I did. I remembered her short temper, the way she yanked me out of conversations, the night she locked her bedroom door. I remembered thinking she was just jealous of how close I'd been with Dad. Tyler rubbed a hand over his face. He crossed lines. "Emma. With you. Mom saw it. Maybe you didn't, but she did. And she blamed herself for not stopping it sooner. That's why she shut you out of the cottage. She thought keeping you away from all of us was protecting you. Or maybe protecting herself. I don't know." The pier tilted beneath me. I grabbed the railing to steady myself. Memories flashed, Dad brushing my hair too slowly, his hands lingering on my shoulders, that uncomfortable special birthday hug I'd pushed away and laughed off. I'd buried those feelings so deep I almost convinced myself they didn't exist. "She never told me," I whispered. "She never told anyone. Said it would destroy the family. Said we had to pretend he just left." Tyler's eyes were wet. "But she never forgave herself. And she never forgave you either, not really. Because you were proof of what happened." The rage I'd carried for 8 years cracked open, spilling into something messier. Grief. Shame. Betrayal that cut in every direction. All those summers the first thought she was punishing me for being difficult. All those nights I wondered what was so unlovable about me. And all along, she was running from her own guilt. I wanted to scream. To throw something into the ocean. Instead, I just whispered, "She ruined my life to cover up his." Tyler nodded miserably. "She thought distance would make it fade. But it only made you hate her. And it made her hate herself even more." I sank down onto the pier, head in my hands. The wind whipped my hair into my face, salty and stinging. Tyler sat beside me, silent. For the first time in years, I felt like we were kids again, two people caught in a storm way bigger than us. After a long pause, I asked, "Why tell me now?" "Because last night proved she's never going to." And because, he hesitated, then pulled a folded paper from his pocket. "You need to see this." I took it with trembling hands. It was a letter. Mom's handwriting, dated a year after Dad left. "Emma will never forgive me. I don't blame her. But I can't let her near him. I can't risk it. Better she hates me than carries what I know." The paper shook in my grip. My mom hadn't cut me out because she didn't love me. She'd cut me out because she did. And because she was too broken to face me. I thought I'd already hit bottom. I had no idea what was still coming. I drove straight from the pier to the cottage. My hand shook so badly on the wheel I had to keep pulling over just to breathe. Tyler's words, Mom's letter, they played on a loop in my head. 8 years of hate, and now with this. When I pulled into the gravel driveway, the place looked the same as it always had. The sagging porch swing. The chipped shutters. But for the first time, it didn't feel like home. It felt like a tomb. Mom was on the deck, folding tablecloths from the failed reunion. She looked up when she saw me, her expression sharp, ready for a fight. "Come to gloat?" she asked bitterly. I walked up the steps, heart pounding. "No. I came for the truth." She scoffed, turning back to her folding. "The truth? The truth is you've embarrassed this family enough." "Stop," I snapped. My voice cracked in the humid air. "I know about Dad." The tablecloth slipped from her hands. For a second, she went pale, like I'd ripped the ground out from under her. "Who told you?" she whispered. "Tyler. And I saw your letter." Her hands trembled as she gripped the edge of the table. "That wasn't meant for you." "No kidding." My throat burned. "Instead, you decided to punish me. To erase me. To let me spend years thinking I wasn't enough, when really you were just too much of a coward to face me." Her eyes filled, but she didn't move closer. "Emma, you don't understand." "Don't tell me I don't understand." The words burst out, louder than I meant. I lived it. I remember the way he looked at me. The way he touched me. I pushed it so far down I almost convinced myself it wasn't real. And you saw it. And instead of protecting me, you banished me. You left me alone with it. Tears slid down her cheeks. I thought I was protecting you by keeping you away. I thought if you hated me, you'd be safe. I couldn't let him near you again. My chest heaved. Safe? Mom, I was never safe. Not from him. And not from you. You cut me out of my own family. You made me carry that pain alone. Do you have any idea what that did to me? Her face crumpled, but I couldn't stop. Every birthday, I waited for you to call. Every summer, I watched everyone else get the love you refused to give me. And all this time, you were pretending it was my fault, my attitude, my drama. You lied. To me. To everyone. Her voice broke into a whisper. I couldn't face what happened. Every time I looked at you, I saw him. And I hated myself for not stopping it sooner. I thought pushing you away would make it hurt less. I stared at her, my mother, the woman who'd carried me, fed me, kissed my scraped knees, and destroyed me. She looked small, broken. But sympathy didn't come. Not yet. You ruined me, I said quietly. Not him. You. Because you had the power to love me anyway, and you chose not to. She flinched like I'd hit her. For a long, choking silence, all I heard was the ocean crashing against the shore. Finally, she whispered, I'm sorry. The words hung between us, fragile and hollow. I shook my head. Sorry isn't enough. Her eyes widened in panic, like she realized this was it, the moment she lost me forever. I don't know if I'll ever forgive you, I said, voice shaking but steady. But I know one thing. I'm done letting your choices define me. You can carry your guilt alone. I turned to leave, but her voice stopped me. You're just like him. The words froze me in place. I turned back slowly. What did you just say? Her face twisted, ugly with years of bitterness. The way you hold power over people. The way you built that resort just to spite me. You're his daughter, Emma. His blood. You can't escape it. Something inside me cracked wide open. No, I said softly, deadly calm. I am nothing like him. And if you can't see that, then you've already lost me. I walked away, down the steps, across the sand, not looking back. But as I reached my car, my phone buzzed again. Another message from Tyler. "There's more. Call me. Now." And just like that, I realized the truth I dragged out of Mom wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. But that wasn't the worst of it, not even close. I sat in my car staring at Tyler's message, "There's more. Call me. Now." My hands were shaking as I dialed. He picked up on the first ring. You need to get out of there." She's not the only one who knew. My throat went dry. "What are you talking about?" He hesitated. I could hear traffic in the background, the low rumble of his car radio. Finally, he said, "I wasn't the only one who saw Dad with you. Aunt Lisa saw it, too. Uncle Mark. They all knew. Mom didn't exile you on her own, they agreed. They decided the easiest way to handle it was to make you the problem. To cut you out instead of him." The world tilted. "No," I whispered. "That can't be true." "Think about it," Tyler pressed. "Why do you think nobody ever asked questions? Why nobody fought for you? They made a deal, keep quiet, keep the family together, pretend it was just you being difficult. And Mom took the blame so they wouldn't have to." My stomach churned. Every family dinner I'd been excluded from. Every holiday post I'd been cropped out of. Every forced smile from relatives who never once said, "Where's Emma?" It wasn't negligence. It was a choice. "They sacrificed me," I said, the words tasting like acid. Tyler's voice cracked. "I'm sorry. I should have told you sooner. I was scared. I didn't want to lose everyone, too." The phone felt heavy in my hand. For 8 years, I'd thought my mom alone had ruined me. But the truth was so much worse, the whole family had decided I was easier to erase than the truth was to face. I drove aimlessly for hours, the ocean a blur beside me. My mind kept flashing back to childhood, Aunt Lisa braiding my hair on the porch, Uncle Mark teaching me to bait a fishing line. People I trusted, people who'd laughed with me, all of them turning their backs when it mattered most. By nightfall, I found myself back at my resort. Lights glowing warm against the darkness, waves lapping at the shore. My place. My sanctuary. I stood on the balcony, staring down the beach at the faint silhouette of the cottage. For so long, it had been the symbol of everything I'd lost. But now, it was just wooden paint. A shell. The real betrayal had always been the people inside it. My phone buzzed again. A text from Mom this time, "We need to talk. Please." I stared at it for a long time before setting the phone face down on the table. I couldn't carry her guilt anymore. I couldn't carry any of theirs. Instead, I opened my laptop and pulled up a blank page. My hands shook as I typed, but the words poured out. I was never too much. I was never too dramatic. I was a child. And you all failed me. I don't know what I'll do with that letter yet. Maybe I'll send it to every single one of them. Maybe I'll keep it for myself, proof that I finally put the blame where it belonged. What I do know is this: the family cottage doesn't own me anymore. The people who abandoned me don't own me either. I built something bigger, stronger, mine. And I'm done waiting for them to love me the way I deserved. The truth cost me 8 years. It shattered every illusion I had about family. But it gave me one thing back, myself. And that they can never take away again.